The death road is something that you have to do without a shadow of doubt. Unless you really don't like cycling, or you're scared of heights, or you're scared of death, don't do it. It is absolutely phenomenal and incredibly damn scary at the same time. We knew that the minute we got into La Paz, we needed to book it up. So we booked up a trip. We booked it up with one of the most highly recommended companies at the time, which was a company called Barracuda. And we were booked on. Now, the death road, my words will not do this place justice. I would highly recommend that you Google it. But if you Google it, you might get two things that come up with death road. Number one, you'll get the Yungas road, which is the one in Bolivia, aka death road. Then also, oddly, the Kabul-Beshad highway, which is a highway in Afghanistan, but it's noted as being death road for the frequency of Taliban-related killings. You don't want to go clicking on that one. You want to be clicking on the Yungas road, death road. Nowadays, it's a cycle route, which predominantly is a cycle route, which links the city of La Paz and the Yungas region of Bolivia. It is a major tourist attraction in La Paz, just for the sheer absurdity of it. Barracuda, like many other companies providing the service, really cater to the mountain biking aspect of it, but I believe you can walk it as well, a guided tour, etc, etc. Now for the almost not really a scary part, but these things happen. Apparently at least 18 people have died cycling it since 1998. But if you look at old videos on YouTube, and yeah, again, they're not necessarily the most pleasant things to look at, but there are videos of coaches falling off the cliffs. Although it's a cycle route nowadays, the death road was one of the main roads from La Paz into the Yungas region. One of the main roads. So you're talking a main bus route. You're talking a main transport route to get from A to B. So just imagine the narrow roads. You've got cliff top edges. By the way, most of which, if not all of which, are not barriered. So if you fall off, you're looking at a few thousand meters, and yeah, you're dead meat basically. And yeah, if you really want to, go and check out a couple of the videos if they're still on YouTube. They're pretty absurd, pretty scary. But this is the sort of stuff that we were going to be faced with. One slip and you're pretty much toast. But as we said in the last episode, when in Rome, why not? We were picked up in the morning. There's about 30 of us. We were taken to the top of one of the tops of the road. We weren't going to be cycling all 64 kilometres of death road, but we were going to do quite a significant portion of it. The Barracuda were a fantastic company, highly recommend them. They provided, multiple guides, the bikes, the equipment, everything that you could think of, including a few people who were basically photographers doing all of photography as well. It was all part of their service, which was, great value for cash at the end of the day. But first thing in the morning, we went straight up to pretty much the top. We done it in 3 sections. The first section was pretty much following the main road for a little bit. I think it was Ruta 3, route number 3. We followed the main road for a little bit, so you're on tarmac, you're getting used to the bikes. You're pretty much going downhill all of the time to make life a lot easier for you. And we were warned when we started that you're going to have 4 seasons. You're at the top of, you're in the middle of mountains, canyons, valleys, you name it, it was there. You're going to have sunshine, you're going to have driving rain, you're going to have everything. It's pretty much a case of be careful. If you fall off, you're pretty much going to die, unlucky. But if you're sensible with your cycling, take it easy, you'll be absolutely fine. We've got guides at the front, we've got guides at the rear. It doesn't matter how fast or slow that you cycle. Just do whatever, just be safe. So the first section was brilliant. Completely covered in clouds, couldn't really see where we were going. We were following the guides. Myself and Aaron were pretty much at the front of the line. We were leading the way in terms of going down with speed. Because it was still part of the main road, there were quite a few barriers, on the dangerous side, shall we say. So that was okay. It started dripping with rain a little bit. But by the time we got to checkpoint 1, this is when it got really entertaining. So we've got to the first checkpoint. We're still on tarmac at the moment, which is fine. Everyone's, in the group again, couple of slow people at the end. And it started pelting down with rain. And this is the point that we were going from the tarmac aspect of the death road down to, basically not going on tarmac and going on the sort of the dangerous part. And I say that with my bunny ears there. Onto the dangerous part of death road. So imagine this. You're on a relatively winding, snaking road that's not ridiculously wide, big enough for a lorry, shall we say. On the right-hand side, you're faced with the hillside, the mountainside, rock formations, etc. On the other side, pretty much the abyss. You look down over the side of the road, there's a few thousand meters drop. Who knows what's down there? It's raining. The road isn't tarmacked, so it's potholes everywhere, stones everywhere, as you would imagine. And we're just about to start cycling downhill. A little bit nerve-wracking to say the least, I'm not going to lie, for myself anyway. So between this was section 2, Aaron and a few others were miles ahead at the front. They were steaming along, enjoying it, behind the more experienced tour guides. And then you've got me at the absolute rear, taking it incredibly easy, stopping and starting, enjoying it, don't get me wrong, enjoying the road for itself, but knowing that, all it takes is a bit of a slip, lack of concentration, and you're toast. All the while, the rain is getting heavier and heavier and heavier. So as well as dealing with the wet road, you are also now dealing with rain smacking you right in the face, which made it incredibly uncomfortable for those kilometres on Route 2 there. By the time I'd finished the second section, I think a few people gave me a round of applause for turning up. I was going incredibly slow, but to be fair, the tour guide at the end with me was, we were just basically having a very good chat at the same time. So I've got a little bit of a round of applause from the fast people who had somehow, I don't know how they made it down so fast. And the third section was equally as fascinating. It was still windy, it was still pretty bonkers, but by this time the sun had come out. So as well as dealing with everything we just mentioned before, we're now also dealing with the sun reflecting off of the pools of water that had just been created, creating a glare in your face as well. Again, with the third section, I was pretty much hanging at the rear with a couple of people this time, not just me, still having a chat with the tour guides, and Aaron was steaming off at the front with the more experienced riders, bombing it downhill as well. What we were amazed about, and it still amazes me to this day, is that this road was once one of the main thoroughfares to get out of La Paz to, down the Yungas road to the Yungas region of Bolivia. That still amazes me. And again, I'll go back to what we said at the start. Look at the photos of it on Google. By all means, go and check out the photos we've put up on Instagram as well of us on the death road. It's absolutely remarkable. And as I said, you're dealing with steep slopes, single track, lack of guardrails, rain, fog. No wonder it's nicknamed Death Road. Still, we live to fight another day. We live to tell the tale of travelling it. And in hindsight, it was an absolutely fantastic experience, and one that we're very, very grateful for. That was pretty much our time in La Paz. That was pretty much job done, apart from a couple of nights of drinking and certainly for myself, a couple of days of being hungover watching football, including loads of full English. There's quite a few English pubs in La Paz. So again, every once in a while, it's nice to get into, getting back into a pub. A reason for that as well is, number one, you can have a full English. Number two, which I didn't think I'd miss as much, Marmite on toast. Beautiful, absolute divine. Every once in a while, it was good to have some English food as such. And that was La Paz. From there, we headed off into, I'll try not to laugh saying this name because I love saying the name, Lake Titicaca. We decided that the lake's there. It would be rude not to stay on an island of some sort, because there was the option of staying on an island. It would be a bit rude not to, because after La Paz, we'd be straight into Cusco, the heart of the Inca. Really getting closer now to Machu Picchu, which if you've been, you'll know how awesome it is. If you haven't been, it is as awesome as they say it is. And we knew we were starting to get into the heart of the Inca. A lot more history coming to life now. Old civilizations, etc., etc. So really looking forward to that. But between La Paz and Cusco, apart from a pain in the ass bus journey, stood Lake Titicaca. And that's where we're going to pick up the episode next week. So join us when we are on the lake and let's see what we can find. Hasta luego.